Do you have it in you? If you have it in you, then you are fit to be an armed forces officer, because to be an army officer is what everybody wants, because that is the way you can serve the nation with patriotism. This job is not a job, and where you work is not an office, it is an institution. The armed forces is an institution by itself. It is not just an office where you go for a 9 to 5 day job. To qualify and to serve, you need to have all the life skills that we teach in Fearless Leaders, like leadership, motivation, time management, decision making, communication skills, and everything else. And you end up having a great personality, doing a great job. You are an officer and a gentleman and a humane human being, everything rolled into one. So why I am talking and telling you all this? Because I have spent 35 long years serving the nation. My father had served and my son is also serving the nation. And I wish every youth in this country gets a chance, because today the government has also opened up schemes for the ladies to join in. Girls are joining the NDA. They have also joined the Corps of Military Police as soldiers, and there were ladies also who had joined the Army, Navy and the Air Force, flying fighter pilots or fighter planes, and they are all doing extremely well. So a little insight on how to join the Army and become an officer. There are many entries like the National Defence Academy, the Army Cadet College, the Technical Entry Scheme, the UGC, the UES scheme, and the Short Service, and not the least, the Combined Defence Services. After having qualified the written exam, or if you are a NCCC certificate, you are called for the interview of the Armed Forces, that is the Service Selection Board. The Service Selection Board, gentlemen, is not a cakewalk. It is, I can say, at par with the IAS exams also, because you are checked out holistically. It is not only your intellectual. It checks out how complete you are, because there are various kind of tests which I will be telling out in a nutshell for your benefit. The Service Selection Board is an organization that assesses the candidates for becoming officers into the Indian Armed Forces. This board evaluates the suitability of the candidate for becoming an officer using a standardized protocol of evaluation system, which constitutes personality, intelligence tests and interviews. The tests are of both types, that is written and practical task based. The SSB comprises a panel of assessors who are officers in the Indian Armed Forces and having the specialization as psychologists, group task officers and interviewing officers. They are all highly trained and undergo specialized courses for this. At times, the psychologists may not be from the armed forces, and they may be high-level learned psychologists who are empaneled from the CV Street. In totality, there are 13 service selection boards across the country, out of which 4 boards are for the Indian Army, 4 boards for the Indian Air Force, and 5 boards for the Indian Navy. The SSB is a 5-day evaluation process. It is mandatory for all officers except the officers getting commissioned into the Army Medical Corps to succeed and qualify in the SSB interview, irrespectively of which academy they are going in for training. Interview involves a battery of psychological tests of personality to assess the candidate's suitability of getting inducted into the armed forces. The tests help the SSB select candidates with something called the officer-like qualities, that is OLQ. The Service Selection Board is not concerned with the number of commissions. At times there are batches which have zero passing rates. The successful candidates, after having undergone all these tests, undergo a medical examination, and every successful candidate is only given a merit position when he qualifies a medical examination. The selection procedure involves complete 5 days. The first day is the screening test. The second day is the psychological evaluation. The third and fourth day are the group tests, where you have various tasks which I'll be telling subsequently. And the fifth day is the conference round, where you face the complete panel, where they interview you personally and evaluate you and give out your result. The qualities looked for in the selection period include intellect, responsibility, initiative, judgment under stress, ability to reason and organize, communication skills, determination, courage, self-confidence, speed in decision making, willingness to set an example, compassion, and a feeling of loyalty for the nation. Here, your honesty is also tested along with your integrity, because whatever you write, talk, and the stories that you make can be seen through if your loyalty and integrity is made out or stage managed. It has to be from within. On the first day is the screening test, where you have the picture perception and description test after reporting. This gives you a picture which is either clear or hazy, in which some picture is shown and you have to write a story in 30 seconds. If your stories speak out something, it is good, or if it doesn't, your psyche is studied by that. Then you have the stage 2, where you have given some words in which you have to make sentences. Those sentences also speak out your character, which are judged by the psychologist. And then you have some physical group tasks which are watched and judged by the GTOs. On this day, if you qualify, you go in for the other 3 days, or you are requested to go back to your homes. Then comes the psychological test, which is on the next day. There you have a thematic appreciation test, or again a picture story writing, in which a picture is given to you. The picture is shown for 30 seconds and you have to write a story in the next 7 minutes. 12 such pictures are shown to you sequentially, and you have to write stories in the given time frame, and the final picture is a blank slide where you have to create a story of your own choice. So this depends, and the stories will give out your nature or your psyche to the psychologist. Then comes the word association test, or the WAT. Here about 60 simple everyday words are given out in sequence, shown for 15 seconds, and you get about that much of time to write out a sentence each on these words. Then is the situation reaction test, or the SRT, in which a booklet of 60 situations is given to you, and for the next 30 minutes you will have to write out the reaction to such situations which you will do if faced in your daily life. Then is the self-description test, where 5 questions about yourself, your parents, your friends and teachers are given out, and you have to give a self-description about yourself, what you think or what you would like to become or what you would not like to become, also your strengths and weaknesses. So, when you do these tests, be honest. Do not fake your answers, because the psychologist, after judging your writing, can just make out whether you are judging or not. You are doing it properly or faking it. On day 3 and 4, you have group discussions, group planning exercises, progressive group tasks, small or half group tasks, individual tasks, these are obstacles, group obstacles or snake race, command tasks, and a lecturate with 4 heads, which are done. Tasks are given to you, you are made into teams, you are made the leader, and the group testing officer observes you thoroughly because he is trained for it. Here, in the group discussions, he is watching you. You should not be a nuisance in the group that you want to speak out on every point. But when you speak, the person or the others should listen to you. What you talk should make sense. On the 3rd and on the 4th day, you have the GTO or the group testing officer who tests you on the basis of group discussions, command tasks, group tasks, a lecturate with 4 heads, which is given to you impromptu to speak on, planning exercises, military tasks, and a snake race. Here, what is being evaluated is your leadership qualities, your own physical fitness, your ability to gel well with the team, your knowledge, your communication skills, your decision making, and your ability to react to a situation or to a task, and your ingenuity towards any work. So here it is very important to think out of the box. In a group discussion, you should not be chattering, you should be listening and speak on what makes sense, something related with what is the topic for the discussion. The lecturate for a minute should have only meat about the topic and not beat around the bush. And when you talk, it should be clear and concise, to the point, brief, clear, with the thoughts that you want to tell the others. When you are in the group task and not a leader, you should be a proper cog in the wheel and not stop the leader from doing his task. Listen to him, give him the ideas which are of importance and which can help in proper culmination of the task. And when you are the leader, listen to everybody, take their democratic views, but then do what is correct and feasible for timely completion of the task. And the individual task or the obstacles are the ones which you have to do it alone, and you have to do it within a given time frame. So this tests out all the life skill qualities which I have been talking about, like leadership, motivation, time management, communication skills, your intellect, your knowledge, how well you have read. Everything is brought out over these 2 days. On the 5th day is the conference round, where you are faced by the complete panel, which consists of the officers who have been testing you, the psychologist who has quietly checked out your papers, the interviewing officer, the commandant, and everybody. They ask you questions and you are under the gaze of nearly 13 people in the panel. Whether you are nervous, confident or not, your aptitude is being checked out, your psyche is being checked out, your physical abilities have been checked out, your intellect has been checked out, and this is the final round. And there are times when a batch is washed out. So you have to really prepare well for the Service Selection Board to be one of them to succeed. Some good books are recommended. Please see them if they can be of any use to the girls and boys appearing for the SSB or also the entrance exam which precedes the Service Selection Board. Now that you have heard me talking on how to join up as an army officer and a little bit guidance on the service selection board. Everything basically culminates on you having good communication skills. Why should you have communication skills? Because it increases your productivity, it increases your bonding with other people, it gives you satisfaction, it improves your time management, gives you stronger teamwork, and at the end you are successful. So for that you have to be a good listener first. If you have to talk well, you have to be reading well so that you can talk well. If you learn to listen, you can learn to talk. And talk means you have to talk sensible, not nonsense. You have to understand the body language of the person in front, about the non-verbal cues that he gives out. You have to understand how he is signaling to you. Do not think the other man in front is not learned. He is more learned than you. So these are little fundas which you have to understand. And when you speak, you have to be still. Do not gesture too much. Do not move your hands. If you are speaking steadily, you are clear in your thoughts. When you speak, have eye contact with the person in front, because eye contact shows confidence. Do not keep your whole arms folded. Have them in front so that if you have to show, if you have to gesture, they are there for you. Be non-reactive. You should not react, not get perturbed and shout. Listen to the person in front. Give him an answer at the same tone so that you do not look stressed out. Then your oral communication, your vocabulary will matter. And that will only happen if you have been talking, if you have been reading, if your words are clear in your mind. So be concise, be to the point. Do not talk long. Like they say, write short sentences, they make sense, they are understandable. So if you talk short, the person in front understands and likes it. Nobody is interested in listening to your voice if you are talking in a monologue. It has to be a dialogue, and talking short makes sense. So for that you have to think before you speak. So your brain should be working before your tongue wags. So at the end of everything, if you are good in your profession, if you have read well, you can communicate well, and let me tell you, your own professionalism or knowledge is the key to your success. So you have to read, know your language. Basically 3 languages that everybody should know Hindi, which is the national language, English because that is required, and your own mother tongue, whatever it may be, to whichever state you may belong, irrespective of your religion, caste and creed. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope this small lecture and an insight into the service selection board has been of some help to you all in whatever little that I could have given to you, and I wish you all the success in all your endeavors. Jai Hind.